Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Digital-Motorsports.com, and welcome back to the iDMC winter season. It is round 2, and we are at Virginia to bring you another exciting rendition of this fantastic championship in the USF2000 cars. Last week, we were at Indianapolis at the road course with a thrilling couple of races, seeing Dave Mcguire clinch his first ever iDMC win and Peter Dempsey standing on the top in the feature race. And we are going to hope for something similar tonight. So it's 2 different winners from 2 rounds, and now we head to rounds 3 and 4 here in Virginia. My name is Jack and Kevin Galvin alongside me as per usual. Kevin, Indianapolis, I mean, it threw up some fantastic finishes. Virginia, the drivers are excited about this one because it's very tight, twisty, windy. So I think qualifying is going to be very, very important around here.
Yeah, from chalk to cheese, I think, with Indianapolis, it was all about the draft, getting in the draft. Plenty wide spaces, opportunities to go 2, 3 wide, even 4 wide in places. Delighted to see David Mcguire take his first win of the championship, aided again by the draft at the end. As we say, could not be a more different circuit. Basically, Wikipedia's article has it that the Virginia International Speedway was created by a couple of lads with bulldozers, which is very different to the history behind Indianapolis. This is, as you say, a really tight circuit, a really twisty circuit, a very interesting circuit with what I suppose something for everybody. We do have long straights, we do have a chicane, and of course that famous milestone oak tree that the drivers go around on turn 12. We're just seeing Keith Dempsey going around it now. But yeah, as we say, it's always very close, as we expected in between these. Jordan Kelly, Keith Dempsey, Peter Dempsey once again up the front as we get into the 6th minute of qualifying. But really, I suppose the first 2 rounds have nicely set the stage now, and we have a couple of guys up the top who didn't score as many points as they would have liked, so they'll be a bit more under pressure.
Certainly will. And right on cue, championship points. Dave Mcguire is the championship leader, of course, after that fantastic finish in the Pro Championship. This is the Pro Championship as well. We should mention we have the Pro and the Pro-Am, but this is the Pro Championship with Dave Mcguire at the head of the field, with Jordan Kelly in second on 72 and Josh Malin in P3 on 70 points, tied with Peter Dempsey, who of course took a win last week as well. So Dave Mcguire with 2 top 5 finishes is the man at the top of the standings, with Jordan Kelly, of course, who Dave actually beat out by less than a tenth of a second across the line in the last corner in Indianapolis. So it is now him in second place. He's, of course, the reigning champion in this one, and it is interesting to see how he's going to carry that momentum forward as well. Josh Malin in third, by the way. He's had an update to the simulator as well. Of course, he's a Digital-Motorsports ambassador. He signed on once again for 2021, and he has got some brand new fancy Hussenfeld pedals that he's been just put into the rig. And he was the fastest man in practice, so you can obviously put 2 and 2 together. He's 8th fastest in qualifying at the moment, but he is certainly now going to be a little bit faster with those Hussenfeld pedals, which are serious pieces of kit. And he's 8th in the standings at the moment, but we'll see how he gets on. We were talking about the track just a moment ago. Of course, we had the famous oak tree section which the drivers go around. There's also a section that's just simply called roller coaster, and it's called that for a reason. It's turned 14, 15, 16 around that area, where it's up and down, and you're trying to keep the car as straight as you can. But it's also there's elevation changes in the middle of it as well. It's a really hard section to get right, especially when you're in the draft with somebody else and you're getting pulled along through that roller coaster section. It can actually be a little bit scary to be right behind the car through the roller coaster section. We'll see how the guys negotiate today. Josh Malin goes to 3rd fastest. Jordan Kelly and Keith Dempsey are European 1 and 2. But of course, our resident stewards for this evening, Sean McGinley, Rob King, who are doing duty tonight. The Pro-Am, actually, stewards, of course, are Brian McManus and Peter McCann. They're on the grid tonight, so they're working hard on track rather than in the stewards room. But if you missed the Pro-Am Championship, you can of course go and watch that back as well. Fantastic race there as well. And we look forward to everything. Now, remember, folks at home, that you do have a chance to win a SIMUCUBE wheelbase, which to the value of over €1,000. All you have to do is tell us in the comments who you think your driver of the day is. Now, let's be specific. That is not the live chat. That is the comments after the video has gone live. So just keep that in mind when you do comment your driver of the day. So keep an eye out, and you might be going away with a SIMUCUBE. That is, of course, at the end of the season. So the giveaway happens at the end of the season. So stay tuned to the whole of this championship to find out who you think is, find out who's going to win this. We're on board now with Niall Murray as he goes around the famous oak tree section, Kevin, and it's a pretty distinctive part of the circuit right there.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we were just, as we say, it's chalk and cheeses. I think Niall got an off track there on AX at oak tree. So he's after scrapping his lap. Richard Lyons, one of the newer drivers coming in now. But yeah, as we say, the Indianapolis, it's like a purpose-built, all modern, modcon, there was no way you'd have an oak tree in the middle of Indianapolis. Let's just be very clear of that. I think it's a really cool, interesting sort of, I love the way you have these things, like Snetterton has a scary tree, you have oak tree, you've Jimmy Broadband, as Rob King likes to call him, Rebel Tree in the Nordschleife. And it's nice that, I suppose, all these individual tracks have kind of those characteristics. And much like in other sports, we talk about grounds that have certain kind of characteristics or personalities. Virginia International Speedway is definitely one of them. But we do have our grid for the round 3, I think, now of the iDMC winter season. We're obviously in the second venue for round 3. Jack, will you take it away?
Absolutely. Jordan Kelly on the pole position by 0.07 of a second over Peter Dempsey. And with Keith Dempsey in third, Josh Malin is fourth, and Dave Mcguire top 5. That's our championship leader, don't forget. Neville Smith is sixth, and Brian McManus in seventh for VR Racing. And Nicky Meredith, Alex Dunn in ninth, and Wayne Douglas in P10. Then Fabrizio Rivera with a good qualifying in P11, and Jonathan Brown is 12th on this grid. But of course, good to see Jordan back up the front again with Peter, who was a winner last week. Then we have further down Patrick McKenna and Arias Yamantis, then Kevin Shine and Michael Devaney, Roland Doherty, Rory O'Shea, Niall Murray, who we saw running wide out of Oak Tree, Richard Faulkner, Sean McGovern, Richard Lyons, Rob Moore, Johnny McMullen, Peter McCann and Mark McKenna, Tony Stack, Harry McGovern and Kevin Lacey is 29th on this grid. Remember, 15th is the golden number in this one, because 15th place will get you reverse grid pole. Currently Kevin Shine is occupying that P15. But Jordan Kelly, he hasn't actually started off with a win this time, so we want to get to change that. Keith wants to get himself back up on the top step, of course, and good to see Keith fighting up here. But here we go then. It is round 3 of the iDMC winter season at Virginia International Raceway. It is lights out and away we go. It's a fantastic start from Keith Dempsey, but an even better one. Peter Dempsey in the second phase pulls up alongside Jordan Kelly. Keith Dempsey goes immediately to the inside as they head towards turn 1. They're 3 wide already for the lead as they head into turn 1, which is a right-hander. So Keith Dempsey does the double. He takes the lead into turn 1, and it's Jordan Kelly moves to second, and then here comes Josh Malin into third place. But now you can see immediately Jordan Kelly comes back at Keith Dempsey around the outside of it, the exit of turn number 1, and he takes the lead back. There's been a little bit of contact between the both of them as Keith goes back, and oh no! Into the side of Jordan Kelly goes Keith Dempsey. There's contact between the both of them, and Josh Malin goes to the lead of this race in the first sector. It's Josh Malin, Keith Dempsey, Peter Dempsey, Dave Mcguire and Brian McManus who moves into the top 5. Alex Dunn is 6th. Douglas, Rivera, McKenna and Devaney are your top 10, but Kevin, immediately contact between Kelly and Keith Dempsey, and that is a shame for Jordan Kelly, dropping right down to the back of the field.
Yeah, massive shame, and Keith was caught up in something as well in the opening round at Indianapolis, and it's so difficult. Like I was going to say to you, if you're saying what is the kind of things to watch out for this race, I was going to say netcode is actually probably one of the things, because making a pass here is so tight. The track is so tight in places, and you almost feel like when they're racing in a pack there was always going to be someone was going to lose out. Sadly, it was Jordan Kelly. Keith in second place. Be interested to see if there's any damage left on him, because these USF2000 cars are, of course, are a little bit more brittle than what these guys are an awful lot of used to driving in terms of GT cars. But for Keith, it was very difficult. As he goes down the inside now of Josh Malin. Can he make that stick? Malin knocks up. Oh, forces Keith wide, and that's a bit of karma maybe. I'm not sure. Josh locked up, and there was nowhere for Keith to go really, and he's dropping down the order now. He's at the 10th, and just cold tires, cold brakes, and a very, very narrow track usually means some sad times for some of these drivers.
Yeah, I just heard Josh apologising to Keith over the radio there. Now here comes Peter Dempsey for the lead on the outside line. But look at the man who's in third, Dave Mcguire. He's back in it again in third place. And Brian McManus is in the fight now in fourth. He's trying to go around the outside, and Alex Dunn moving up the field to the top 5 as well. So it was a totally different top 5 than what we started with, apart from Peter Dempsey in the middle, of course. Josh Malin into that lead. He's hanging on very nicely, but there's a top 5 train now beginning to form as they come through the first sector. It's Wayne Douglas who's in 6th, trying to close up to these guys. Fabrizio Rivera is 7th. Currently occupying that 15th spot at the moment, is swapping around, but it's Sean McGovern is in that 15th spot at this moment in time. But Dave Mcguire, it's all about keeping that nose clean, isn't it, Kevin? He did the same thing last week and obviously took the win in the first race of the night, and now he's doing the exact same thing he did last week and just driving his own race, really.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Like, it was the exact same thing in Indianapolis. No, Dave's obviously very quick in these cars. Otherwise, he wouldn't have qualified for this championship in the first place. And he's putting himself in a position where he has the pace to get up there. But really, Dave has been profiting over the last 2 rounds by just avoiding contact, by boxing smart. And this is the thing. You know, we talk about tracks like this and starting in the top, you know, in the top echelons or whatever, and oftentimes that can be to your advantage because an awful lot of the stuff that happens behind you. But if you are making a move early, like we saw with Keith and Jordan Kelly, and you get caught up in it, then trying to rejoin is so difficult, you know, especially in these opening couple of laps. There's another man turned there. That was a move on Arias. It was Marius Mantis was looking at it anyway, at least. I'm not sure who was involved. It was Keith Dempsey again. But somebody losing out a few places was Michael Devaney, I'm not sure. But anyway, Josh Malin leading this race. And again, we see Peter Dempsey now up on the left-hand side. And he's going to make a break down into the horseshoe. He's on the outside. Can Josh? He's ahead now, nose of Josh. But Josh does have the inside line. A lock up again on the right front, which forces everybody to kind of accordion into each other. As we head back down the hill, and some really, really tight battling. I suppose, Jack, this is what you expect from these 10 lap heats. They really kind of encourage that early racing, which is what we want to see.
Oh, lovely move from Alex Dunn and Brian McManus there as they came into the left-hander. He's moved up to 4th place now as they come through the middle sector. So gets the move done on Brian as they keep filing through. Wayne Douglas is closing in now. You can see him there in that 6th place, just starting to close to the back of the train. Wayne Douglas is, of course, a winner in this championship, not in this season, but he did take a win in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship, the opening round of the season. He managed to secure a win in the reverse grid race, if I'm not mistaken, with Jordan Kelly. That was the first time we saw him in the top step as well. So it's not out of the question for him. And but Josh Malin, he wants to get his campaign off to a good start. Of course, he was the only man who was challenging Jordan Kelly last season. He's got a big opportunity now to get some points. Josh Malin in first. Peter Dempsey is second. Remember, he was our winner in the feature race last week. But the man behind him is, of course, the championship leader and his championship rival, and it is young Dave Mcguire in the number 19 car. Alex Dunn is now beginning to size up some moves. Maybe Josh Malin goes a little bit wide on the exit. Of course, Peter Dempsey, of course, with all the real-world experience in this one, is, of course, the team principal of Turn 3 Motorsport, is obviously running a team in this very championship, the USF2000 Championship, and they're, of course, getting underway. Car 99 and Car 90, that is Keith and Jordan under investigation by the stewards. As we look back now, this is the battle for 15th place. We look at Neville Smith, who is trying to hold on to that 14th place. Kevin Shine getting up alongside of Sean McGovern's looking for space as they come through here. This is the reverse grid battle that we're looking at right here. As they nearly go 3 wide, but left car getting out of the way. Dave Mcguire going for the move on Peter Dempsey around the outside. He has the inside line for the next corner. Here comes Dave Mcguire. Can he get it done around the outside? He has to watch out not to leave the door open for Alex Dunn behind, and Alex has a little look up the inside. Dave leaves him space, but Dave manages to hang on very nicely just there. But Wayne Douglas, this is now a 6-car fight, Kevin, because Wayne Douglas, because of that small battle, he's actually in the fight now.
Absolutely, and this is really, really interesting stuff, because it is about we've 6 laps left, of course. So it's about picking your moments. It's about picking what spots you can get into. That horseshoe seems like that T1 seems like a good opportunity, particularly with Josh Malin seems to be locking up quite a little bit going into that corner. And just to pick up there, it was actually car 90 is actually Josh Malin that's under investigation. Okay. So perhaps we're giving Keith Dempsey, perhaps we're wrong Keith Dempsey. Perhaps it was Josh Malin involved in that incident with Jordan Kelly. This is absolutely fantastic battling, though. We have 6 cars, as you say, Wayne Douglas, and there's 2 tenths between. Oh, Josh Malin overtaking Peter Dempsey. Wait, no, sorry, that's my timing table going all messed up. But it does look like Peter's going to go for a move on Josh. He knows that Josh isn't as strong. He gets the inside. Oh, Very tight there. Josh holds on to the lead, and but Peter's certainly battling him very close. And as we say, it's very, very tight at the top there, the championship standings, and 2 good results here could put you right back in the championship battle. So these first 2 or 3 races are so important in terms of getting early points and establishing yourself up there and staying consistent. And for Dave Mcguire, he's quite happy here, although with Alex Dunn, in fairness, Alex gave him a bit more space as that move, as it looks like Peter's going to try again. But again, Josh keeps the inside line and holds on to that race lead. Just a reminder as well, thanks very much to our sponsors, SimTag. They who have considered their partnership with Digital Motorsport into 2021. And you can check out the link below to check out their hydraulic 2 pedal sets. But this is superb stuff, Jack, isn't it?
Really, really is. And I was about to say, as they came across the start-finish line, what's that coming over the hill? It's Keith Dempsey. Look where he is, P7. He's actually nearly close up to the back of them again. So do not discount Keith Dempsey out of this battle just yet, because he has got the pace to try and catch up here. Richard Faulkner losing reverse grid to Nicky Meredith, that is, who didn't get off the line very well. Ronan Doherty's trying to make his way through as well. But yeah, no, ever since that lap 1 instant, the lads up the front, they've been super, super clean the whole way through. They're giving each other plenty of racing room. Peter McCann is embroiled in his own battle here. That's Richard Lyons in front of him. And behind there, Kevin Shine in the middle with Niall Murray, who's a long way down the field for his own, for some reason. I'm assuming he's involved in his own instance. But back up to the front. Look at this battle now. Alex Dunn under pressure from Brian McManus and Wayne Douglas. You can see them coming down. Brian's trying to find any kind of room, but there's no way through. And he's going to have a hard time getting past that man in front of him here as they come up through into the braking off of the right hand. This is a tricky section. This is where Keith ran wide, of course, after a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact with Josh Malin. But Alex Dunn hanging on nicely to that 4th spot. Dave Mcguire just kind of happy enough to sit where he is in 3rd. And Brian McManus doing an excellent job running up in that top 5. He's always thereabouts, is Brian McManus. Of course, he's a winner in this championship as well. So there's Wayne Douglas. And look behind, that is Keith Dempsey up behind. And Fabrizio Rivera's going with them as well. So there's nearly 8 cars that are possibly in with a shout of the win in this one, onto lap 6 of 10. And it is it's anyone's game at this point as they head through. Oh, was that mistake from Brian? I think he could have possibly ran wide. He's run wide. So through goes Keith Dempsey, through goes Wayne Douglas. He's fallen down into the midst of the pack here, Brian McManus. So running in 5th, now drops to 7th. So not all is not lost, but he's going to lose momentum. And Fabrizio Rivera looking for a move here. But Keith has made it back up into 6th place and is definitely not out of it yet. Definitely
not. I was going to say for Fabrizio Rivera, now obviously he has Brian McManus between them, but there's no better man really to be following than Keith, because you always know the lines are going to be extremely clean, and he's probably more than likely going to pull you through any incident. So Fabrizio is doing really well here in 8th position. I was going to say about Brian McManus, he was just pinched there between Wayne Douglas and Alex Dunn. It was a difficult position for him to be in, and any kind of mistake there, it means you get immediately punished. So it's a difficult one, but Arias Hermantis now overtaking Fabrizio Rivera, who's dropped back a little bit. But as we say, Keith Dempsey into 6th, despite the incident early on in that Jordan Kelly incident. We'll wait to see what our stewards Rob King and Sean McGinley have to say about that. But as we see once again those cars locking up as Peter Dempsey goes down the inside of Josh Malin. Oh, Josh's going to hold on to it. Josh is locking up all the time into the horseshoe there. He's making things very, very difficult for himself.
He is flinging that car down the hill. As we look back now to Nicky Meredith, who's in 15th at the moment, which is reverse grid pole. But he's looking to try and get past Ronan Doherty as we go back to the front. Look, the cones go flying as Peter Dempsey tries to go to the inside. Josh shuts the door immediately, but now you can see he's just going to hang it down the inside. There's nothing that Peter Dempsey can do. And Dave Mcguire says, well, boys, I'm going to join you. I'm having fun up here. So as they come through, it looks Fabrizio Rivera's made an error as well. I can see him dropping down the field. It's a real shame for Fabrizio. Drops down to 13th place. And which is a shame for him, as now there goes Dave Mcguire into 2nd place. He makes the move on Peter Dempsey. Did he catch him napping? But Dave Mcguire, who is this man and where has he come from all of a sudden?
I can tell you Josh Malin is absolutely delighted that all that's been going on, because now he has a 1 second gap over Dave Mcguire, having only previously half a lap ago having Peter Dempsey right up his chuff, just bursting to exit out of that NASCAR bend. But yeah, that's great stuff for Dave Mcguire. As we say, he's really come into his own in this championship. He must really enjoy these USF2000 cars. It was kind of in and around the Pro-Am side of things when it came to the BMW M4 and M8 championship last season, but he's really taken a liking to this series as we come up to Madison Avenue. But don't call me baby. It's a pretty horrendous 90s pop music joke. I wasn't even a joke. I just named the song. Alex Dunn now got into P3 ahead of Peter Dempsey as well. Peter Dempsey, those two of them swapping places as Wayne Douglas is up into 6th. An exciting battle here between Alex Dunn and Peter Dempsey, and Peter's probably be a little bit annoyed about himself, probably made a few mistakes. He was all over Josh Malin, but just couldn't quite capitalise now, finding himself in P3. But as we say, Dave Mcguire, our championship leader in 2nd place, just been so incredibly consistent, and not just quick, but really good racecraft as well, which sees him. This could see him increase his margin at the top of the championship. I just got to check the championship standings, because he's ahead of Jordan Kelly, who dropped way down, and Peter Dempsey, Josh Malin in 4th. So this would be another brilliant result for Dave Mcguire if he could pick up another one.
I wonder, is Peter carrying damage? He kind of let Alex Dunn past. I reckon he could have picked up some floor damage on that car. Alex Dunn is into 3rd. Keith Dempsey, as a result, is back in the top 5, and he's closing down on his brother quite quickly. So we've got 3 laps to go. Josh Malin's got a nice lead now. He's quite comfortable where he is, so he's happy enough to carry on and try and secure a win here for himself. Dave Mcguire trying to get himself back on the podium for the 2nd time this season. Alex Dunn trying to get himself on the podium for the 1st time. Lap winner in car 99 and car 34. That, I think, is the incident between Jordan and Keith in the 34. So that is also one of the best cases. There obviously was an incident between Jordan and Josh that we didn't see on lap 1. So they're trying to keep an eye on that. But
14 is actually Peter, not Keith, as Wayne Douglas seems to be dropping down the standings, so he must have had an incident there. Wayne, he was running P6 at one stage, now down to P12. Car number 99 is Jordan Kelly, but it's actually car number... Wait, no. Where am I looking?
Peter Dempsey, sorry. 18. Peter Dempsey.
I think it was Peter Dempsey was under investigation.
He is, yeah. Car 34, which is Peter Dempsey. So he's under investigation for something between himself and Jordan. So we'll have to wait and see the outcome of that. So interesting.
Thanks just to say as well, thanks to Shoreway as well. I've got the live timing here we have on the Digital-Motorsports.com website. I would strongly advise you check them out as well if you are in the market for any sim gear. But the live timing screen here is brought by Shoreway, of course, are the leading specialists in the sale and supply of forklifts, side loaders, and access equipment, but long-time supporters of us here at Digital Motorsports, and indeed just general long-time supporters of sim racing in Ireland. So thanks very much to them, because that live timing screen is an absolute godsend, I can tell you tonight.
Absolutely. I was just hearing on the voice chat there, Alex communicating with Dave Mcguire, telling them to go. We got to catch him. So they're working together here, Alex Dunn and Dave Mcguire. And also, I think because they know that Keith Dempsey's now P4 and trying to close them down. But there's only a lap and a half left of this race. So Josh Malin, he's got a nice lead now, and Dave Mcguire, he doesn't really need to fight too hard against Alex Dunn. He'll want to hang on to that 2nd place as much as he can, but a podium would be very nice for him as well. As you look back now, this is a battle between Neville Smith and Rory O'Shea is in P9 now as well. So Neville Smith trying to make his way back up through the field. Currently occupying that 15th place is Kevin Shines. He's on for that reverse grid pole as they come through the back, just past Oak Tree and down towards the roller coaster. But now Dave Mcguire, is he under big pressure from Alex Dunn? Alex is going to go for the move on the inside. Dave leaves him the space, but of course he knows the inside line there and just runs him out a little bit wide there. And great racecraft between the both of them, inches between them, but not an ounce of contact. But they're not catching up to Josh Malin. Josh is driving very well out in the lead of this race, and he'll only have a lap left to go as they come across the start finish for the white flag in race number 1 of the night. And let's see if Alex Dunn is going to be able to get that move on Dave Mcguire. Dave is going to hang it down. He's going to keep that inside as much as he can. But Alex Dunn finds the space on the inside, and he should be able to get this done on the brakes and through he goes into second place. Let's see if Dave can get that cutback line. He's going to try on the power. There's a little bit of space, and he opens up for him on the inside. But, of course, the inside line is there for Alex Dunn, and he is in front as they head into the braking zone for the left-hander. But this is not over. Big slide on the exit as well. They're trying hard. Dave Mcguire goes back to the outside, but they've got to be careful that they don't fight too much because Keith Dempsey's closing in on them. There he is in the background in P4, and he has driven really, he's really put his head down after that instant there. Look at Alex Dunn trying to break the slipstream down the straight as well as they come down into the winding sector in the middle sector here. Car number 19 of Dave Mcguire, championship leader, can't afford, of course, to crash out. He just needs to keep his spot right now, but he's got a great draft as they come into the left-hander. But Josh Malin is checked out front. He is clear, and barring any mistakes, he is going to take the win in this race. But Keith Dempsey joins the fun as they come through Oak Tree, and he is right there on the tail of Dave Mcguire. He's been the fastest man. Alex Dunn breaking the toll, weaving down the street. He's got to be careful of that though, because the stewards might get him down the straight if he doesn't if he wants to minimise the weaving as they come through over the top of the hill into roller coaster. Dave Mcguire looking for any kind of room here. Watch out for Keith Dempsey as well. He'll find some space if he can. Here comes Dave Mcguire to the outside line. He knows that's the inside for the next corner. Going to try and fling it down the inside. He's not quite got the space. Alex Dunn hangs on to it as they come down the hill, and Keith Dempsey is going to be able to get maybe a podium after being put into the grass earlier on. Clout of the curb for Alex Dunn, but through they come. Josh Malin is going to win the opening round, and that is 3 winners from 3 rounds. Josh Malin, first win of the season, and it's now going to be run for the line between Alex Dunn, who gets second, Dave Mcguire is third, Keith Dempsey is fourth, Peter Dempsey is fifth, Arias Imantis is sixth, Patrick McKenna, Rory O'Shea in the top 10, Michael Devaney and Fabrizio Rivera, he recovers into 10th place.
Sean McGovern's just taken 15th. I think Sean has just popped
Kevin
into
Shine made a
15th
mistake.
To get pole for this heat, for Heat 2. Oh, yes. Tony would be... Sorry, Jack, I didn't mean to cut across you there, but I just saw the timing board. Tony just missing out on that last lap, and he's up 11 places, Tony. He's had an absolutely brilliant races, Tony Stack, from down in Kerry, of course. But just I think there must have been a mistake there just on the final corner as allowed Sean McGovern to nip in, and he'll take pole now for the reverse grid race in Heat 2. But what a smashing race, and I have to say, Jack, Josh Malin's win completely and utterly deserved from the moment he took the lead, despite having a few moments, despite locking up once or twice. Did really well to battle off Keith Dempsey for God knows how many laps, and brother Peter as well, particularly Peter, who kept it really close, and then just did enough. I was probably delighted then when Alex Dunn and Dave Mcguire were battling at the end, but another superb drive. Great to see Alex Dunn second as well. It will be interesting to see whether the stewards pick up on that weaving down the back straight. We know that's been disallowed for this championship, or whether they'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But Josh Malin, as I say, a very deserving winner of Heat 1 of Round 3 of the iDMC Winter Series.
Absolutely. Well, we are heading into warm-up now, and it's time for us, of course, to have a little break after that one. So we'll be back after these short messages from our sponsors.
They say that perfection doesn't exist in this game. Most players just don't have it in them. But those who dare to seek it might catch excellence. And that sounds perfect to me. So, I'm done playing. Let's drive.
Are you looking to get involved in simulator racing? Here at Digital-Motorsports.com, we're a one-stop shop for all your sim racing needs, supplying wheels, pedals, shifters, handbrakes, monitors, virtual reality headsets, seats, chassis, fully built sim solutions and custom built PCs from all the top brands that you know and love. To find out more, visit Digital-Motorsports.com.
Welcome back to Virginia and to the iDMC. And after a really intense battle up the front, we have now a short little interlude before we head to the reverse grid race. Got about a minute left before we head back to racing. And we would, of course, like to take this short moment to thank our sponsors, which is, of course, Shorebird Group, SimTag, and SIMUCUBE, and all the guys there. But we'll take a quick look at the results from that one. That is Josh Malin taking the win, Dave Mcguire in second, Peter Dempsey third, Keith Dempsey in fourth. That's not correct. That's the updated championship points, I believe, actually. Is it?
I think so, yeah. That should be the updated points, which puts Josh Malin top of the championship now ahead of Dave Mcguire. I'm surprised, actually. I thought David had done enough. I presumed that a second place would have been enough for him, but Josh now sneaking into the lead of the championship. I think Dave Mcguire is going to be a little bit annoyed about that, because he probably thought he had done enough to have held on to the lead of the championship. But it just goes to show you, I suppose, we're early enough in the championship yet, only coming into round 4 now, this reverse grid race. But it just goes to show you how quickly things can change, and how somebody, because the guys run so quickly, and because there's quite a high attrition in some of these races, that if you can place anyway comfortably, you can actually gain quite a few places. Like Patrick McKenna gaining 4 places there, Josh Malin going up 3 places, as we say, into the lead as we're gridding now for this Heat 2. But it just goes to show you, Jack, how quickly things can change.
Absolutely, I can just see Brian McManus apologising for him slowing down. Apparently his engine shut off through turn 1, which is not ideal in these ones, so he's apologising to everybody for getting in the way, but he managed to get to the end nonetheless. Here's your grid then. Jordan Kelly, they look at him there, 22nd. He'll be starting in this one, and they're all kind of VR racing cars, they're all clustered together. Peter McCann, Brian McManus and all them are stacked together. But now this is going to be an interesting one, because Sean McGovern is on the pole, Nicky Meredith is second, and Neville Smith and Ronan Doherty with Richard Faulkner and Fabrizio Rivera. That is your first 3 rows of the grid. Nicky Meredith is a former winner in this championship as well. The last one I believe he took was in the USF2000. As away we go, there's a car stopped on the line, and that was Ronan Doherty stopped on the grid, and through goes Nicky Meredith with a storming getaway into the lead with a car stalling on the line. They all managed to get through, thankfully, but Nicky Meredith leads. It's Sean McGovern in second as they head through turn 1. It's Neville Smith in third, and Richard Faulkner into fourth. Then it's Michael Devaney and Rivera coming through the order then. But a great getaway for Nicky Meredith, absolutely nailed the getaway as he came through turn 1. And he hangs on to the lead now, but now the train begins to form in the background. A little slide from somebody back there. Peter Dempsey into 8th place. How about that for Peter as he makes his way through the field. Patrick McKenna, Dave Mcguire into 11th, and Jordan Kelly losing 2 spots off the grid there. He's bound to 24th. Josh Malin's had a terrible getaway. He's down to 24th behind him as well. They come down the back straight for the first time, but some of the drivers behind Ronan Doherty were very lucky to avoid smashing straight into his rear there. Good reactions from the guys behind.
Yeah, Ronan in the pits now. We had an off track as well after that, so there must be something up with his equipment. Nicky Meredith leading ahead of Sean McGovern already. Sean will be a bit disappointed there, having taken the Heat 2 pole right in the last minute ahead of Tony Stack. But Nicky now leading us out. That's in Keith Dempsey. He's being overtaken by Robert Moore there, I think, going into Oak Tree. He's dropped down. Yeah, it looks like it once again for Keith Dempsey. As you say, seems like his damage. He's going to be overtaken there by some of the cars that come up the pack. But as you say, Peter Dempsey's up 3 places. Michael Devaney, should I say, up 3 places. Brian McManus up 6 places into 14th, and Wayne Douglas up 5 places. So a few early movers and shakers here on the feature race of this section, or of this at this venue of the Irish Digital Motorsports Championship.
This is a 15-lapper. Don't forget, Peter Dempsey on a great start. He's up to 7th place already in this one. Dave Mcguire's into 11th with Alex Dunn going with him. They come across the start-finish line. Josh Malin, hear him over the radio. He is not happy. He's had a terrible lap number 1, and he's dropping down the order. He's obviously had an incident on lap number 1, as is Keith Dempsey. And Michael Devaney moving into 3rd place on the inside of Sean McGovern as they come through turn 1. There's a 3 abreast moment nearly happening behind as Peter Dempsey tries to find some room as they come through turn number 1. But Sean McGovern now moves back up to 3rd. He makes the move back past Michael Devaney. So at the moment now, Nicky Meredith just needs to get his head down. But Neville Smith is the man looking the quickest behind him. Neville's been quick in these cars, so he's got to keep his eye out for him. But look, they're breaking away from the pack now, which is ideally what they need to keep doing. Just need to keep building a gap, because we know how fast Peter Dempsey is, and he will put his head down and try to catch up to the back of the guys in front. Dave Mcguire, you can kind of just see him in the background there. He's on the back of Arias Imaz. He's into the top 10, is Dave Mcguire. So he's... now this, of course, we know Josh Malin is now your championship leader, but because he's fallen so far down, Dave Mcguire is, right at the moment, on course to take it back. But, of course, he can't afford to let Peter Dempsey outscore him too much.
Well, that's the thing, and Josh is only 5 points ahead of him at the moment, so that will be a huge game for David over him. But as you say, Peter Dempsey's up into 5th and looks no signs of slowing down, up 6 places, an incredible 6 places in just 2 laps, less than 3.5 minutes, which just goes to show you the talent of these Dempsey brothers. As that looks like there's a bit of a battle happening behind Nicky Meredith, Michael Devaney, and he's got off there, Devaney. Oh no, and he's had such a good start to this race, Michael Devaney. He was up an absolute cohort of places, and an instant there between himself, between himself and Richard Faulkner, I'm not entirely sure. Sean McGovern now goes off. He was started pole on today's feature race, but now he's down at the 13th, and we're just seeing this so close battling, and this narrow circuit really, thankfully there's a lot of runoff, but if you do make a mistake, you're on a pretty much a skating rink when it comes to the grass, and it's going to take you quite a while to get back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. But now you can see Peter Dempsey up to 3rd. He's onto the podium places now already. There's Alex Dunn under a bit of pressure from Arias Mantis. Gets run out of road by Alex there and moves into 7th. And he's now chasing after Dave Mcguire. They start on the same row of the grid, so they're going with each other in this early part of the race. 15 laps, of course, but Nicky Meredith is building a lead now, which is exactly what he needs to do. Jason Smith in 2nd. You can see him there. They're kind of breaking away. Nicky keeping his head down. He knows how to lead a race. He's done so before, and he is well able to do so. And we're going to be able to see if we can have 4 different winners in the first 4 races, or if we're going to get a repeat winner immediately. Just going to see a move further down. Jonathan Brown getting past, I think that's Harry McGovern in 20th place. So he moves into 19th place. In this one, Sean McGovern's still struggling around, I think, with damage on that car. He's dropped down to 17th place. Now that's how quickly it can go wrong. But now back here, we see Brian McManus now moving in front of Richard Lyons, and through he goes. Richard Lyons actually making up places on both of them here. He got past Wayne Douglas. Can he get past Brian McManus at the same part of the circuit with the draft? He's got the inside for the next corner, and he should be able to get that stopped. A little contact in the little tap in the rear, another tap in the rear, and a 3rd tap in the side, and round goes Brian McManus, and Richard Lyons has to take to the grass, and through goes Niall Murray, who's come out of nowhere and is now in the top 10, but that was a little bit unlucky there. That was it was just a little bit of tapping the whole way through there, and Brian, unfortunately, was the poor receiver of that one. But Niall Murray just drove through, and I don't know where Niall Murray's come out, but he's now in the top 10.
Yeah, Niall's after making up 17 places to now run in the top 10, so absolutely superb stuff. I made 7 places in a lap today, and I was delighted with myself. Never mind to say 17 places in the space of 4. But yeah, it was an awkward incident there. It seemed like Richard's braking marker was a little bit earlier, and then it was just very hard to get the 2 cars slowed down at the same time, and it all gets a bit messy from that point, and everyone's trying to stay on track. Jason Smith in 2nd place. I'm wondering where Neville went. Am I losing my mind that Neville was in 2nd at one point in this race, and now he's gone absolutely nowhere? I have no idea what happened to him. But Jason's in 2nd behind Nicky Meredith. Alex Dunn's now gone down to 5th. Dave Mcguire again up in 4th place, but as you say, behind Peter Dempsey. So the 2 of them very close at the top of the iDMC Championship. Be interesting to see whether Peter Dempsey ends up staying ahead of David, or whether David can get the run on him.
Yeah, I think actually what we've seen the name change frantically to Jason Smith. Is that which is what his actual name is? So we've just had the name wrong all the time, Neville Smith. But it's actually Jason Smith. We weren't going mad, so it has been changed to Jason Smith. So that is what we've just seen. So further down, there's Rory O'Shea getting through. Jordan Kelly's making up some decent ground. He's into 14th now. And as he moves his way through, you can see now Johnny McMullen is trying to find some space. Can't do it at all because there's barely any room. But he manages to go around the outside of Sean McGovern, who's carrying damage, and moves into 18th place. We go back to the front. Jason Smith now putting some real pressure on Nicky Meredith here, and you can see in the background Peter Dempsey, the looming figure of Peter Dempsey, is closing in on them. And in the background, just out of shot, you can see Alex Dunn and Dave Mcguire, 4th and 5th at the moment in this one. So we'll see now, big twitch from Nicky on the exit of the corner there. Through the middle sector they come once again. And still, he's led since the start, but Jason putting some decent pressure on him. But Peter is closing in each corner almost, he's closing in that little bit more. And he's definitely in the draft range now, sat where he is. There's Dave and Alex in the back. And lap 3 incident between cars number 7 and car number 6 under investigation. And up and over the hill they come. Jason looking for space, can't find it. Riding on board with it now as they head through around Oak Tree. You can see the tree, a massive tree on the right hand side. And this is the perfect drafting opportunity. Needs the exit here, does Jason. Gets on the power nicely. And there is a lap car, I think.
Not quite as good as Nicky. Not quite as good an exit as Nicky, however. I think Nicky's slightly pulled away from him there in the exit. I think Jason called a little bit of a curve. You would expect Jason Smith to be good in a sprint race, though, wouldn't you, given the name?
Yes, he certainly would. As they come down the hill, you can see he's getting closer and closer and closer. Now has a think about going up the inside. There's a swap position. Alex Dunn moving in front of Dave Mcguire as they came into that corner, and Dave not putting up a fight there, coming through there. And now that car in front of them, I think, is the lap car. I think that's Ron Doherty, who's actually made it back out onto the track. I think that's him just in front of Nicky, right there as they come across the start-finish lines. That is the car that stalled on the line and luckily didn't cause an accident. With Jason Smith arriving now towards turn 1. Got a nice draft, but Nicky's just doing enough to stay in front of him. Alex Dunn getting past Dave Mcguire. I think that's a smart move from him there. Wide moment for Nicky Meredith. Here comes Jason Smith. He finds the gap, and now he's now going to have to try and go around the outside. Nicky's going to have the inside for the next left-hander, and he does hang on. So it's not the end of the world if you do go wide through that corner. But now that small little battle has brought Peter Dempsey right back into the fray here. So now 3-car fight, and by the end of this one, we're definitely going to have Alex Dunn and Dave Mcguire on the back of them. As Ronan Doherty he gets caught at the wrong spot. He has to try to move out of the way, and Peter Dempsey's now going to find an opportunity, tries to find a gap on Jason Smith as they come through the middle sector. But now that's also dragging Alex Dunn and Dave Mcguire that little bit closer. Peter Dempsey to the outside trying to find any kind of space, but there's just none in this sector as they come through the middle one. And luckily now Ronan Doherty, they just caught him in the very wrong place. Nothing really Ronan could do to get out of the way. But it's a 3-car fight now as we come to the halfway point of this race. It's only halfway, and the 3 cars in the lead are with each other now. Can Peter Dempsey do the double? Can he win 2 feature races in these 2 weeks? As now Jason Smith got a fantastic run on Nicky Meredith this time. Is he going to go for the move? They're right on the rear wing of him as they come through towards the next corner. He's surely going to get him this time. As they come up and over the hill, Jason Smith momentarily very close to contact as they come over the hill. Peter Dempsey going to try and make it 3 wide. Not going to quite do it. He's smart enough to know that, to not make it 3. Oh, contact between Nicky Meredith.
Contact.
Jason Smith survives, but Nicky Meredith... No, they survived. They survived somehow. Nicky Meredith is still in the lead. He's maintained it, and they still go side by side. And Nicky Meredith somehow hangs on. Oh, no, he's going to lose it. He's going to lose it. Round he goes. And there was damage on the rear suspension.
No contact.
Peter Dempsey's off the roll as well. He runs off into the grass, and now here comes Alex Dunn and Dave Mcguire, who moves into second place. Dave Mcguire is back in it somehow, and Alex Dunn is down there. But Jason Smith leads this race. I do not know how they survived that contact earlier on. Peter Dempsey is still in it though. He's 4th place. He ran a bit wide, but he's still in it. But that is such a shame for Nicky Meredith. He did so well to hang on to that car on the grass, but I think just rear suspension damage, nothing he could do about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that our stewards, Rob King and Sean McGinley, will have a look at that. It looked like Peter Dempsey may have been a bit late on the brakes. I don't know that he managed to punt both of them simultaneously. That would be a first for the iDMC. A double punt, which would be quite satisfying, I suppose, in one way, but in another way, really not great. It's amazing how all 3 of them managed to keep going, and then amazing how, even though Nicky spun out and back across the track, he managed not to collect anybody in behind. But as you say, that whole incident now has kind of left the door open. Cars 34, 34 is Peter Dempsey again, and 95 of course.
Even more contact than Dave Mcguire. He hangs on for dear life and is still in P4, but that was an audacious move from Alex Dunn. There was contact on the exit. I do not know how Dave hung on to that car, but Peter Dempsey now back into 3rd, back in the fight here, halfway through this race. But definitely life flashed before Dave Mcguire's eyes. It's ever so well. to keep that car in a straight line. Don't know how he did, but Peter Dempsey now on Alex Dunn. Here we go. He moves back into second place, and that's the inside line for the downhill corner, and back he goes into second. But we have a new challenger, Kevin, Richard Faulkner.
Yeah, Richard's just been profiting from everything that's happened in front of him, and actually,
no!
Peter Dempsey's upside down. Oh dear. Oh, there's just that corner. That was the same corner that we saw contact the last time as well. Going down the hill. I'd love to see a replay of that. I'm not sure who was at fault there, Jack. I was kind of looking to see with Richard Faulkner how he had gotten on in terms of what sort of positions he'd made up, and I was just about to tell you he was the only man in amongst everybody else that actually hasn't got up or down a place, and yet I turned back on my live stream and Peter Dempsey's upside down.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a debrief after this one. I think we need to look at this. But where the hell has Niall Murray come out of? He's P5. He's up. That's a ridiculous number of places. That's over 20 places gained for
now
Niall Murray.
P27, Niall, Jack. Niall gridded P27, and he's now P5 in this race, which is just an absolutely incredible result. If he can stay this way. Now with the P4, oh, that little touchdown, Arias Ramantis forced him wide. But clean racing, nonetheless. Arias holding on to 5th place with Wayne Douglas, again now up in P6. We saw him run in the same position in Heat 1 before he had issues. Oh, Jason Dunn, or sorry, should I say Jason Smith is out. Jason Smith is out.
Somebody had just nominated him for driver of the day and immediately goes out. Alex Dunn, your new leader then in this one, which puts Niall Murray on the podium. After that one, this has been a mental race. But Alex Dunn now leads. I think Jason Smith, has just off tracks maybe has done him. So that's a real shame for Jason Smith, who was leading this race comfortably. But Alex Dunn with a huge lead now. He just needs to keep his head down, and he's back in the pit lane. So although he must have just crashed, seems to me he's just back in the pit lane and is to this race. But now your new top 5. Let's run it through it again. Alex Dunn, Richard Faulkner, Niall Murray, and Wayne Douglas now into 4th. Arias Ramantis dropping down to 5th as a result of that, and making the pass into turn 1, and he gets through. But there's the movers. 24 places gained for Niall Murray, 17 for Wayne Douglas, and 19 for Rob Moore, who sits 6th at the moment. So that is mental gains for all those guys.
Whatever about the driver of the day, but that surely is the drive of the day, if not the drive of the championship, if Niall Murray can keep that 24 places. And even Wayne Douglas behind him up 17, Rob Moore up 19, and our leader Alex Dunn starting the 14th position up to 1st now, and holds an enormous advantage. It's almost a 5-second advantage now over Richard Faulkner, who's up 3 places himself. Such a pity though to see that instant. Dave Mcguire now down to 12th place, and he was running really well there, and of course with the incident with Peter Dempsey, it's a real pity to see those. I know Peter got the win obviously in Heat 1, but that corner seems to be claiming quite a few. Maybe it's just locking up going in from behind, coming down the hill. That's the thing when you're going down the hill, and this is one of those, as we say, roller coaster type tracks. It's a bit like Road Atlanta or that Road America, but you know, a lot of these North American tracks tend to be very huge elevation changes, up and down and up and down, left and right, as we see an interesting battle here for 13th place. Harry McGovern leading the train going into towards Oak Tree, as Nicky Meredith, the P1 of course started P1 today. He's now down to P15.
Of course, he had that rear suspension damage after that that downhill off he had. So he's trying to get himself back past Tony Stack, that is in 14th in front of him, and Harry McGovern, of course, in 13th. So Tony going to get a run on Harry here, and I think Harry goes, whoa, that's getting a bit tight. Nicky Meredith through the middle and gets it done. That was brave from Nicky Meredith. Good driving from Tony and Harry as well, but he runs out of road. He just he gets the braking a bit wrong on the downhill, and it was audacious from Nicky, a good effort, but couldn't get it slowed down. Now, Richard Faulkner 2nd, Niall Murray on his tail in 3rd. Can he make it 25 places gained, Richard Faulkner? Niall Murray, sorry, and move into second. Niall, of course, is a winner in this championship before, so he's no stranger to this, but he started in 27th place on the pro grid and is now trying to make a move past Richard Faulkner to get into second. And that tells the story in this one of just keeping out of the trouble, and he's done exactly that. Wayne Douglas, though, is closing in very quickly on the back as well. Wayne Douglas is a former winner in this one as well, so he's got plenty of experience behind him. Twitch from Niall Murray as they come through Oak Tree, and Wayne Douglas suddenly on the back of them all of a sudden as they come down the back straight. And this could get interesting now with the draft from Niall and from Wayne Douglas. And here comes Niall Murray now in the draft of Richard Faulkner as they come up and over the hill into the braking zone. Here comes Niall. He moves out of the draft. He's got the inside line for the kink, but not the inside line for the braking zone. Up and over the hill, and that is 20 whatever places gained for Niall Murray. Somehow gets it stopped 25. And is second place, and 25 places gained. Second place for Niall Murray. He's twitching around though in the braking zone. He's not going to. I don't know if he's even going to hang on to that. As they come through up and over the hill. He might be under pressure once again from Richard Faulkner, who gets a run in him as they come up and over the start finish again. Richard's got the outside line, but Niall will hang on to that inside line. Richard not going to go for a move on him here, but Niall Murray now secure in second and is doing an excellent job. What a drive up to second. Believe it or not, that's actually not the first time we've seen that, because in the Pro-Am race last week we had somebody drive from last to first in this one, so it's not out of the. It's not the first time we've seen it, but it does seem Niall is kind of struggling for grip because he's absolutely sideways through some of these corners and is really struggling to get the car kind of settled in the corners, and he's going to be under some pressure here as they come down the back straight from Richard and especially from Wayne, who is fourth at the moment. Through the middle sector they come.
Wayne is posting quicker lap times than Richard as well. But with 4 laps to go, you've got to question again, and maybe this is me not being of the standard of these guys, but you got to pick your moments. There's a huge gap now between Niall Murray and Alex Dunn. You can see him way out in the distance, already across the start-finish line. But for these 3 guys, it's about picking up as many points as you can. And, what do you have? It's about risk versus reward, really, at this point. And as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Niall Murray started pulling away. It's kind of what we're seeing, because Richard is slower than Niall Murray and indeed slower than Wayne Douglas behind him. We saw the sector times coming up. Oh, that was deep into the brakes as Wayne Douglas tries to move down the inside of Richard Faulkner, who's going to hold on to it. But as we see the sector times being flashed up there in the last lap for the race, in the battle graphic, we saw that Niall Murray was faster pretty much in every sector ahead of Richard Faulkner, as is Wayne Douglas. So it should be interesting to see how Wayne, if Wayne can get ahead of Richard in the next couple of laps. But it is a case really of picking your battles, and I'd much rather be taking a guy into the last turn and running up the hill and trying to see if I can draft him, to trying a bit of a sketchy move into a corner as Wayne Douglas. Now, is he going to get it done here? He is ahead of Richard Faulkner. They go side by side. Faulkner's going to come back in the inside, and really, Jack, this track is hugely about track position, isn't it? It's not necessarily about the corner that you're going into, it's about the corner after that, because it's so twisty and tight. It really does. If you have the inside line of any of these corners, you have a massive advantage, even if you're a half car length behind.
Yeah, it's especially for turn 1, there's nothing you can do. You can't go around the outside there unless you're really, really brave. You will get run out of road, but it's crucial that you just hang on for dear life on the inside line, because there's really nothing the car behind can do. And it's interesting to see, because Niall Murray, he's struggling with the grip, but he's still flying along here. We're
having a look now at Jason Smith, at what happened to Jason Smith, because he was, of course, in second place, and just spun there, loss of control. And was that the 2X that saw him? Yep, that was enough. That was the 2X he needed to push him over the edge. I'm not entirely sure what the X points are for this. Maybe our race control might be able to confirm that. That's just my ignorance. I'm not entirely sure about what he's gotten. 15X, so he must have been playing a dangerous game, because he was at least on 13X at that point to spin out. Thanks to Almara and this race control for confirming that. So 15X is the disqualification here, and I'm pretty sure that that Jason Smith isn't the only one that's after falling foul of that. I think I saw another Robert Moore, is it, that dropped out pretty quickly, so he could have been disqualified as well. And obviously it's such as we say, a tight, twisty circuit. Makes it very, very difficult. One slip up and you're out. But 15x in 15 laps, you would have imagined, is probably enough to get most guys around the circuit. But I suppose throw in a couple of 4x's, a bit of car contact there, and you're playing a dicey game.
Yeah, and I'm just taking a little interesting look. You look at the names in 15th down, who are a lap down: Peter Dempsey, Josh Malin, Rivera, Moore, Kelly. That's tells the story, doesn't it, in this one?
Absolutely.
But you see now, our lads at the front, Dunn up 13, Murray up 25, and Wayne Douglas up 18 as well. So just it's something. It's crazy.
But it really does go to show you, like, in these tight, twisty circuits, that it's about picking your battles. And we saw that big instant contact with Peter Dempsey. We saw contact between himself, I think Nicky Meredith in the lap previous. I can't remember who else was involved in that. And then we saw the same move going into the same corner, taking out more people. So it's really a case of trying to pick your battles here. And not that I know anything about being in any way quick, but I certainly know about trying to stay safe. It's really, especially when it oftentimes, okay, take lead, but by those small increments, those staying with the pace and avoiding contact, you're probably going to set yourself up to be a little more risky in the last 2 or 3 rounds to give yourself a chance of winning the championship. There isn't a massive amount to be gained in these opening rounds, but you can lose a huge amount. And as we're seeing here, Alex Dunn, Murray, Niall hasn't been massively in the picture. Alex has been, as has David Mcguire, and rather ironically, David, with his 11th place now, might end up making more of a distance on the lads around him than he did in the opening race when he finished a lot higher.
I certainly could, but a man who's going to gain hugely, because Alex Dunn, by the way, at the moment is currently 5th in the championship, and he's going to outscore everybody today. So I'll be interested to see what the points are going to be after this race. But Dave Mcguire, I tell you what, he's done well to keep his head down after that contact, and he's now actually on the verge of getting into the top 10. He's only not too far off the back of Peter McCann, who's currently 10th. We're looking now with Jordan Kelly. This is a massive day to forget for Jordan Kelly, who was the leader of the championship coming into this one, and now all of a sudden he's running down in 18th, 19th, got spun around in race 1. Not sure what happened in this one, just probably caught up in another one, and he's had a terrible one. He's going to try and maybe make up something here on Rob Moore, who was 6th, and I think he must have got a penalty as well, because there is a limit of 10x before you get a penalty, so it could be that as well. As they come up and over the hill now, here comes Jordan Kelly, inside line for the up and over the hill. It's you got to be a bit brave to go around the outside initially, but once you get that inside line for the braking zone, there's not a hell of a lot the car on the outside can do. And there you go. It's going to be now, I think, the last lap, because around the corner, Alex Dunn is actually now about to come across the line. Alex Dunn's already won. He's that far ahead. Alex Dunn is going to be your winner in this one. He's on the feet. He's on the just across the line for the checkered flag. Niall Murray 2nd. Wayne Douglas just got 3rd, just by near less than a 10th of a second over Richard Faulkner, Arias Imantas, Richard Lyons. Then it'll be Kevin Shine with a great finish in 7th. Rory O'Shea is 8th. Peter McCann is 9th. And Dave Mcguire is going to recover to a top 10. How about that for Dave Mcguire after getting shoved off the track? He's top 10. And Nicky Meredith, to tell you what, great recovery for Nicky as well, 11th. Tony Stack and Brian McManus in 13th. Harry McGovern, Peter Dempsey only 15th. Josh Malin 16th. Fabrizio Rivera, Jordan Kelly, Rob Moore and Ron Doherty. But Alex Dunn is a new winner in this one. And I believe now, I think he also takes the record for the youngest winner at... I think he's 14, 15 at the moment, Alex Dunn. So that's the youngest winner in the championship as well. But that is four winners from 4 different races. And I'm interested to see what the championship standings are going to be after that one, because that was a bit of a crazy one. But Alex Dunn is he was unlucky in Indianapolis, so nice to get him on the top step.
Yeah, job done for Alex. And to be fair, we've seen him progress even over the last number of months. The young driver, and a really clever drive by Alex this time. Obviously profited from a bit of mayhem and chaos that happened ahead of him, but established that lead. And really from that point, it was just a case of making sure he stayed clean to bring it home. I have to say my drive of the day certainly is not David Mcguire. He's gone up into second place now. I almost read it before I saw it, but Niall Murray up 25 places. What an incredible result that is. Are those the updated championship standings? I presume they are, but there's nobody's changed position, so we'll have to see whether they're updated. I don't think so, because Josh Malin was leading. However, he was only leading by 5 points ahead of Dave Mcguire coming into the second round. So anyway, we will await confirmation for that. But job done from Alex. What a brilliant race by himself, and it'll be nice to have him in as well into the commentary box and talk a little bit about his race. But very disappointing for a lot of those guys that were running up the front. Interested to see what the stewards will have to say. They'll have been pouring over an awful lot with Rob King and Sean McGinley over the course of the next few minutes. So will have to wait kind of official results to see what penalties are given out, but unofficially. But certainly one thing that what's the word I'm looking for? One thing that most certainly we're sure of is that Alex Dunn has won, and look at that gap, 7.37 seconds in the context of the normal iDMC championships. That is a lifetime.
Certainly is, yeah. Alex Dunn with the number 1 in the car. He takes the first position. Niall Murray, 25 places up to second place. Wayne Douglas on the podium as well. Richard Faulkner and Harry Simans. I'm just looking, those are the updated points as far as I can see compared to the other, compared to the heat race one. So it seems Josh Malin may have just managed to hang on to the lead championship even after that disaster. So obviously we do have to wait for penalties and stuff to be applied. So we'll wait and see how that goes. But we do have our race winner from the feature race, Alex Dunn, in the box. So Alex, great to have you in. It was an unlucky one for Indianapolis, but I think chaos and all that kind of thing helped you out today. But great pace overall and a first win in the championship.
Yeah, I'm lost for words. I'm very happy. I think Indianapolis was more to me to blame. I made 1 or 2 little mistakes which I shouldn't have. But this track, I was a lot more confident coming into this round, and I think race 1, I definitely messed up my quali lap, which didn't help. But there was a little bit of chaos on lap 1, which helped me came through. So I managed to get a second, and then the second race, then I just slowly picked my way one by one, managed to come out on top. I think Jason made a mistake while he was leading, which then just gave me a big gap, and then I just relaxed and slowly pulled away.
Yeah, absolutely. A tricky track to do that as well. And I'm just looking here. That moves you up into second in the championship, I think, after that one. So do you think now that after that win, do you think you can really put a challenge in for this title?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I'm feeling quite comfortable in this car now after doing a few more laps, and yeah, I think I'd like to say that I'm definitely one of the contenders now.
Absolutely. And so we got a 2-week break now. So what's the plan? Is it going to be just practice, or just take a little break and then go straight back at it?
I think I'll probably start practicing soon enough.
Excellent stuff. Well, Alex, thanks for jumping in with us. Congratulations on the first win, and we'll chat to you hopefully in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
And Kevin, I believe Niall Murray standing by for yourself.
Yeah, no, what can you say? I mean, we have, as you well know, a competition at the moment for a driver of the day for SIMUCUBE Direct Drive Pro wheelbase. It's hard to think of any other candidate than yourself after that drive. 25 places. I mean, is that probably one of the best drives you've had in recent years in this series?
Yeah, it was definitely one of the craziest races I had anyway. Whether it was my best race or not, I don't know. Probably not, to be honest. I think I actually got damaged the first corner driving over the top of Keith's car at one stage. And yeah, the car was a little bit off, so I was kind of struggling for pace. But to be honest, every time I crossed the line, I gained 5 or 6 places and didn't even pass a car. And there was just carnage, people going off everywhere. So yeah, no, it was a great race. Obviously stayed out of trouble. I kind of reeled Richie in at the end there, passed him. So it was kind of probably the only overtake I actually done during the whole race.
Well, it was what we were looking at. So, to
Yeah.
be honest with you, we were kind of, to be fair to Jackie, kind of said, Niall is creeping up here. And we were kind of looking and saying, yeah, he's got up 13 places, he's 16 places, 20 places, 24 places. Wait, what is going on here? And then when we saw Richard ahead of you, we were looking at split times, and it was more a matter of time. It seemed like that track, first of all, track position is everything on that track, but really, it's a matter of picking your battles, isn't it? Because there's some corners there, if you go in too hot, you're coming down the hill, and it's just curtains if you can't catch the car.
Yeah, definitely. Like I had a poor qualifying, like the normal excuse that everyone says. So I qualified 19th. In India, I qualified 14th and finished third. So I wasn't really too bothered about qualifying, but I obviously didn't want to qualify 19th. And I think I was up to about 8th on lap 2 when I came together with somebody and basically didn't finish the first race. So yeah, kind of just wanted to stay out of trouble in race 2. And as you said, like I was coming up behind Richie, for example, and probably 5 or 6 laps to go, and you could go for an overtake before the tight hairpin, but then you're just leaving yourself open to him towing up down the long back straight. So you do have to pick and choose it, and at the same time I didn't want to lift off too much because I knew Wayne was catching us. So I was kind of trying to bide my time and to get the overtake at the right place, and thankfully I kind of pulled enough of a gap so that I broke the toe on the next lap. Thanks to all the lads anyway, and Niall, Rob, Sean, and you lads for commentating as well. They put on a great show, and it's great to get on for a couple hours every week or so, and bit of enjoyment after a hard day's work.
Absolutely, and to be fair, Niall, consummate professional, because I didn't even have to ask you to give your shout outs. But massive congratulations. As you say, probably you say it's not one of your best tries, but certainly I suppose statistically looking back on it, 25 places in the race, regardless of the fact that whether there was carnage in front of you, that pass on Richie Faulkner near the end was brilliant stuff. Niall, congratulations, and look, I suppose a huge jump forward. You're 2 places up into 8th place now in the championship, so targeting potentially top 5.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully do a bit more testing. I think I only did about 2 hours testing on this track until the last couple of weeks. So didn't really feel for it at all. And I never drove it before this either. So yeah, hopefully the next couple of tracks do a bit more testing and leave work a bit earlier and actually get on and drive the thing and have a bit more pace to be able to actually qualify well and finish consistently with the top guys. There's no point in qualifying down the order and just hoping that people take each other off. So yeah, need to find a bit of pace.
No, the old leave work from home early lie that we always tell ourselves that we're going to get on air. Congratulations, thanks a million for joining us up here in the booth. Jack, you're joined by Josh Malin, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. Bit of a roller coaster, let's say. P1 in heat race 1, and then not a great heat race 2. But despite that, you're now the new championship leader. So give us your thoughts.
Oh, well, I didn't expect that. After the first lap, I had to tow back to the pits after my incident with Keith, unfortunately. And then, well, I think I came out in like P28, P29 from memory. So a P16 finish is a lot better than I was expecting, but I was really happy with the race 1 result, that for sure.
Yeah, it seemed. I don't know whether it was the track or what, but it seemed like the racing was a lot kind of harder. People were running each other a little bit tighter. Was that what you thought, or was it just the nature of the track?
I think it's probably a combination of both. We have really high track temperatures in this particular server compared to the last one at Indy. I think the track temperature is like 49 degrees Celsius, so it's roasting hot. So there's not as much grip, but the cars are a little more consistent. So they're a bit easier to control on the limit, whereas in the cold temperatures it's like to snap a lot. So it didn't really surprise me that it was going to be a close race, and especially at this track it's quite tight, but also it's really fun track to drive, and I enjoyed it, that's for sure. It's just a shame I got caught up in a few incidents. I'd just like to say a quick sorry to Ronan Doherty at turn 1, because I think I netcoded cross sort of small bit of contact. You know what iRacing is like; it sends you into the atmosphere. So yeah, sorry for that, mate. And we'll come back strong in the next one.
Yeah, just a quick one. How are those new pedals treating you? I think you got a new set of them over the week.
Well, truth be told, I haven't actually fitted them yet. I didn't really want any issues with like sort of setting them up. I'm quite paranoid about that. So I think over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to get them set up, fine-tuned, and then we'll come back strong with the Hussenfeld Ultimates provided by Digital-Motorsports, which is absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to get using them.
Great stuff. Well, I just had a look at the championship standings now. It seems that you're now 14 points in front heading into the next rounds. So, do you think this is the time that you managed to clinch it? Because I know it was a tight with Jordan last season, but is this the time that you finally get it done?
Especially in this championship, it's so tight. We got Peter Dempsey, Keith Dempsey, Jordan, among many others. I think Alex Dunn's now certainly put his name on the map for future races to come. So I'm not going to rule anything out, but I'm certainly in a very good position, and I just need to hold this going forward.
Great stuff. Well, before I go, Josh, is there anyone you'd like to say a quick thank you to while we're on stream?
Obviously, a big thanks to Digital-Motorsports, not only for the pedals, sourcing the pedals for me, but also hosting this fantastic championship. Unfortunately, it wasn't the greatest performance on my behalf in the second race, but it is what it is, and we move forward. And then obviously to my real world sponsors, Damien from the Car Guys and Pioneer Shop Fitting as well.
Great stuff. Alex, thanks so much for hopping in with us. New championship leader heading into the next few rounds. Hopefully we'll be chatting to you in better circumstances.
Josh, Jack, see you guys later.
All right.
Brilliant.
So,
Jack, thanks a million for that. As you say, it's been an absolutely mad one. But none of this would be possible without our iDMC winter season sponsors. And here's just a quick word about what they can provide you.
They say that perfection doesn't exist in this game. Most players just don't have it in them. But those who dare to seek it might catch excellence. And that sounds perfect to me. So, I'm done playing. Let's drive.
Are you itching to get racing? Whether it's circuit racing, drifting, rallying, or even karting, here at Digital-Motorsports.com we run some of the best online leagues in the world. To get involved, visit our website at Digital-Motorsports.com and enroll for our next event.
So that's all from round 2 of the iDMC winter season. Let's not forget, of course, there is a superb prize in offer for you if you want. That is the SIMUCUBE Pro wheelbase being provided by our sponsors, SIMUCUBE. The clue is in the name. Do remember you can, it's a 2 Pro, it's worth over €1,000, and all you have to do to put your name in the draw, which will be done at the end of the season, is to nominate your driver of the day. I know who mine is. Niall Murray, up 25 places, but if you do have an alternative nomination, then all nominations welcome. And look, a couple of words to type for the opportunity of winning something over €1,000. How bad? Jack, anything to add before we wrap it up here from Virginia International?
yeah, a bit of a chaotic one tonight, but of course Josh explaining everything perfectly well. High track temperature and narrow circuit. It's one of those ones that you chalk down to experience. So obviously we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the Pro Championship. But don't forget, we also have the Pro-Am Championship as well, which is just as competitive. That is also going to be on next week at the same track. We had an unbelievable race in Indianapolis, and of course we had a first-time winner in the championship, a debut winner as well. It was his first race in the championship, and he decides to go from last to first. Neil Ferrier, if you're watching, well done, sir. And it's going to be fantastic. Of course, just to clarify, just to keep mentioning it, the SIMUCUBE getaway. If you please nominate your driver of the day in the comments after the live stream has gone down and it comes up as a video on demand. You can leave your suggestion in the comments down below. It's just way easier to track than the live chat. So just keep that in mind when you're going for that. And that draw is going to be at the very end of the season, so not straight away. We're not giving one out every race, then we'd be out of money. But yeah, no, that's just keep that in mind. It's the end of the season, so keep watching right to the end.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Jack. That wraps it up here at Virginia International Raceway. Thanks to our sponsors, SIMUCUBE, SimTag, and indeed Shoreway, as well as Motorsport Ireland, and of course, from all of us here at Irish Digital Motorsports. So, now, with Josh Malin in the lead of the championship, we take the 9-hour drive north from Virginia up to the state of New York, and indeed Watkins Glen in 2 weeks' time. But of course, before that, we have the Pro-Am Championship, as Jack said, next Wednesday. But until then, from all of us here, it's Saga Phone.